This is restarting tax, income tax, and levy program and more. At a recent meeting of the government officials and stakeholders, officials at the IRS Return Revenue Service offered updates of the Office of Promoter. This is a new office, Promoter Investigations, and this is for fraud enforcement. So this is criminal, right? And they're going after what a promoter is, promoting cryptocurrency and other types of fraud. That's what they're going after. Right? That's what they're saying is out there that they have to go after. So notices, liens, and levies. The IRS began sending out letters from automated collection system function. Again, it's automated. They send it. They've got a huge computer system. They send out these letters and everything automatically. It goes out, and so the automated. Now again, as I mentioned, they've been on hold for the last 18 months or 13 months. And now they're starting to gear back up. And I can tell you from my own office, I had a gentleman who hired us. He hadn't filed his taxes in a couple of years, but the only year that they had assessed the tax was from 2016, and he only owed about $4,000. Well, and that's from 2016. He has a revenue officer on them. They levied his, he runs a business. They went to some of his customers, and they levied the customers and told them, hey, don't send him the money now. Send it to us, the IRS. And that was for $4,000. So when they tell you that they're only going after the rich in the big egregious cases, it's just not true, because this is very aggressive. I have clients that owe hundreds of thousands of dollars and from 10 years ago, and they're not going after them. But now they're going after everybody. Doesn't matter how much you owe. They're really coming after people. Unfortunately, there's a backlog on paper, and until that's cleared up, there will be that e-file. They haven't even finished completing all the tax returns this year, right? They haven't processed all the tax returns. There's still a lot of refunds that haven't been issued. And so another thing from my office, people have sent the money to the IRS and they're still getting notices of deficiency or notices telling them that they owe money, and it's accumulating interest and penalty still, even though they sent the money some months ago. But it's been cashed and cleared the bank, but the IRS doesn't have a record of it. And so they're sending out these automated collection from the automated collection service and sending out these notices saying that they're behind. So even if you're not behind, if they haven't processed your money, you're still behind, and they're still going to come after you. Okay, so but their notice is saying that they never paid. Oh, here it is. That's the downside of restarting the program. They have to do it because otherwise people will get complacent when they think that there's no repercussions for not paying. I don't know who thinks that there's no repercussions for not paying the IRS. I guess some people that's true, or they're just hiding until the IRS comes after them. But most of us here in America, we know that the IRS is the biggest, baddest collection agency out there. This is the Officer of Promoter Investigations. This is a newly created service-wide office headed by, this is the office I was just telling you about. Basically, this is a resource any of the divisions can refer to. It's a think tank. How they're thinking, well, how are people buying cryptocurrency? What kind of programs are out there that are trying to defraud? I don't think that there's any more evidence that cryptocurrency is the harbinger of evil that the IRS is making it out to be. But they do need. So you'll see a lot of these stories like this. Shrinking the tax gap requires a renewed IRS workforce. So not only do they need more money, but they need to retrain everybody, and they need to get around the union rules. So the Biden administration estimates the uncollected taxes amount more than $7 trillion over the next 10 years. Again, that's less than the $1 trillion a year that they're telling us now. Now it's up to, they were saying $7 trillion. Now it's over $10 trillion. Well, how'd they get that? It's just an estimate. So it sounds better if they say $1 trillion a year than $400 billion. We've become used to $400 billion not being a lot of money. The workforce has been steadily declining for a quarter century. We talked about this on the show, about why that is, and that there's a lot less work for them to do because a lot of things are automated now that weren't 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And now almost all returns, 94%, I believe, last year, were processed electronically. A lot less manpower is required. Why? Because rebuilding the IRS workforce is not just a numbers game. Rather, in addition to replenishing the ranks, the agency must redefine the skills and expertise required. So the IRS in the future. So they're saying this article is advocating go around the unions and come up with other rules and get different people and pay them differently than every other agency out there. Let's see if we can come up with another story. You'll see this is the same story. Here's an attorney that agrees with me. President Joe Biden wasted no time in bolstering the IRS with an additional influx of employees scheduled over the next decade. The proposal comes as part of a larger package that includes $80 billion for the department for the same time frame. With such a significant increase in capability, one might reasonably wonder whether to expect more tax code enforcement in the coming months and years. Well, of course that's what they're doing. The IRS is leaving billions on the table. Here's how it can collect that money. Well, they go after how they can collect the money. They're talking about a tax gap and that people are stealing from them. There's no evidence of that. But they need more money they do need to collect more because they need to spend more. And we know that the IRS can be very onerous and egregious conduct and going after people who are innocent and catching people who are vulnerable. With COVID, a lot of businesses have gone under and they haven't paid their taxes. And so the IRS is getting very aggressive against these vulnerable people in our society. Now, everybody should pay their tax. Everybody agrees with that. I don't think there's too many of us that would say, hey, you shouldn't pay your tax return, your taxes. But the proposal of what they need to do to stop the tax gap, for instance, one of the proposals is to have all financial institutions report all your bank accounts to the IRS every year so they can go through all of our bank accounts line by line and find out if we're cheating or not. This is kind of counter to America, right? You're innocent until proven guilty. Well, the IRS is saying, well, no, you're guilty until we prove that you're not guilty. You have to prove every year that you haven't cheated. We don't have to prove you did cheat. You have to prove you didn't cheat. And it makes it easier for the IRS, like all governmental bodies. How many times have I heard, if you're not doing anything wrong, what are you worried about? Well, I think that's the beginning of a slippery slope, right? Because what you want people to know and is our government and what's illegal, it might be two different things. And so again, when it's like, why shouldn't we have these new Supreme Court case that came out said that the police can't go in your house and confiscate your guns without a warrant? Well, that makes sense. But if you got nothing to worry about, what are you afraid of? Why shouldn't they be able to? So go down that road. I don't want to go down that road. I hope you don't want to go down that road.